All right then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow vault dwellers, I mean mayors. You've crawled out of the vault, out of Vault 76, Fallout 76, and you have discovered that the world did change for the better. It didn't, but let's pretend. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dead Men Streaming. I am playing City Skylines 2. I also play Fallout 76 and a couple of other games. We are in the middle of designing Imini Bay, and it is a delight to have you over here with me. Today is April the 24th, 2025. As I record this video, probably will be uploaded sometime either next week or after the first week of May, give or take. All right, so what can I say? I wanted to have some content for you guys first. So the last time we left, we had started developing over here at Copper Bluff. We had installed a district hall down here, so we have our first real government building. And after I logged off, I had an idea, and I thought it was going to be a lot more complicated than it was. Turned out it really wasn't. I don't like trams. I have never liked trams. I've always run into problems with them. They've always made traffic headaches for me. So I thought about it and I decided to go about it in a way that would completely avoid traffic. Completely. Everywhere. Um, in City Skylines 1, if you're not familiar, we had monorail stations, which were wonderful. They could take turns at 90 degrees, they could go over roads, they could go over everything, didn't cause any problems whatsoever. A lot of their stations were built on the roads. In CS2, for whatever reason, we didn't get that mode of transport. Instead, we did get trams and buses and taxis. So what I've done is the hard work. Let's say that. So if you scroll down over here really close, you can see that I've added tram tracks to a lot of the pedestrian streets, like this one. That's going to lead down and around, and I did have to bulldoze a couple of small buildings, but all the way down through Cooper Street. Now, it is on a couple of sections of roadways. Can't really do ton about that. But it just pops up, then it pops over, it pops around, it sneaks in behind all these houses, down this pedestrian street, across one low traffic intersection, two intersection, three intersections. Then this spot right here, not happy about it, is what it is. It was either there or right here at this bridge, and that was a terrible idea. Then it goes over Beach Street, goes under the train tracks, go under the highway. And then this is where I didn't care. I put this at a 5 point elevation. We can always come back, delete it, raise it, lower it as we need later. Then you come on down and just swing through the coastline, up back through here. And then we go in the back side of Cooper Bluff. Down, it does hit the back end of the switch on factory. So the tram line ends there, comes over, swings down. Again, not a super heavily trafficked road, spits out at that intersection, swings in behind the school, goes over here, goes behind the capacitor building, and then continues, and then it circles around the college and then loops. Like every other rail-based mode of transit in this game, this does require a closed loop system. Then in the future, when we want to take it further into our capital area, our downtown, we'll just be able to loop it around again, then add another closed loop somewhere here, another one over here, something like that. Um, I think this is going to work out spectacularly. What I didn't do was set a route. What else I didn't do was install a um, tram depot because I really can't think of a good place to put it. We already have our train yard up here. It would fit, a tram depot would fit up here, but it would require running additional lines down into here, and I don't want to tie up traffic on Anchorage Street. The other option would be to set it in somewhere over here, like maybe off of this area right here, Middle Street, sticking it right here and then running the line down. I think that would be perfectly viable. It'll be a little bit noisy. It may affect the residents. That said, this is, much as I hate to say it, this is an area with low rent housing options. So that and industrial zones are typically where towns and cities put large, unpleasant, noisy buildings. Or we could really come over here. We could try to fit it in next to our geothermal plant, or even stick it over here on the highway on this side. This is another really valid option, but we're kind of filling that up a little bit. I don't know. And the capacitor building just doesn't have room unless I sneak it right in over here. And you guys can see how big this building is. It's one of the reasons I don't use it. It's not as bad as the train depot, and definitely not as bad as the subway depot. But size-wise, like, it doesn't even actually fit over here. Well, I take it back, it does. Um, I mean, it's a valid spot, but those tram lines are gonna spit out on that road instead of coming down here. Um, it's one of those things where it's a necessity, but it's a necessity I don't necessarily have to be happy about. I mean, I'm not someone who likes to use trams to begin with, so I'm only considering it for the plain and simple fact. Oh, that messed up that curve, didn't it? Ooh. I'm really only considering it for the plain and simple fact that I am trying to plan how I want our transit system to work in the future. Trains don't get a lot of coverage. This is too far to really justify a subway network. We will install a bus depot here in a minute, but those clog up traffic. So I'm looking at things that will preemptively, solve a potential traffic headache. And if I can do it off the roads, then I think we'll be better off, just as a whole. So yeah, let me go ahead and stick it over here next to the highway beside the recycling plants. I don't think that that will cause too much of a headache. And I'm going to face it over here next to Aspen Street rather than Holly Street. Then to install tram lines on an existing road, just come over here, select your tram, track, double or one way, highlight the existing road, and left click. And then if you want to get rid of it, right click. Same way you would if you're putting trees along the road. And I do want to apologize. I know I haven't done a lot of actual decorating on this map. Um, I love to do map decorations. It's just for whatever reason, I've been so focused on getting the city into profit and getting the city up and running that I just haven't. All right, so that A-frame curve right there is really unnecessary, but just for the moment, it's going to be fine. We'll come back when we run this highway over here as a bridge. It'll tell us some things. Speaking of which, I know it's kind of preemptive, but bridges in this game are a pain in the backside. I went ahead and put down 2 sea lanes over here, so if you see these, understand they're going up this way eventually, but I wanted to go ahead and do a pre-measurement to see how high I was going to have to raise the ground over here to get one of our 2 primary bridging options to cut across through that area. All right, so even if you have a tram, uh, ugh, even if you have a tram depot, the next thing to do is to go ahead and set up some tram stops. Um, Now, these can be put anywhere on the tram line. For us, obviously, they can't go where there are no roads. Just that's not the way this game works. They can go where there are roads. So we can slip in a tram stop, say here, a tram stop. We already put one there. Back here on this road. Don't really want to put it on the bridge. Then I'm going to put it right over here. Let's say right beside on the backside of Principalis. Okay, now this is all two-way, but this tram, it'll only stop on one side of the road at a time. So we're going to put a tram stop there. We're going to put a matching tram stop on the other side, and I'm going to go over here and do the same thing. This way our closed loop system stops on both sides of the road, which will allow passengers to get across in a timely fashion. Not going to worry about putting a tram stop right here. I don't see a need for it. All right, then we come over here. Go ahead and Do the same thing. One tram stop each side of the road. Now this will cause traffic when on a 2-lane road, especially when a tram stops somewhere. Just to let you know. So we're putting it on places that are not getting a lot of transport. We'll put one over here behind the capacitor building. And then we will come over here and we'll put one directly behind the technical university. Actually, yeah, that's fine. All right, then we just do a route. So clicking on 1, 2, the game is automatically going to define this. Don't know why I defined it that way, but okay. You would think it would go up and down. The game's the game, guys. All right, then we're going to follow on our outer edge. And this is kind of unnecessary, but I'm just showing you guys in case you missed any part of it. All right, staying on the outer edge. Now, this is what this came up here. I ran this as one-way track around and over. So it's only got one point to stop, and there's no sense adding a tram stop on both sides of that building. It's not that big. All right, now we're coming back in. Hitting that one. Hitting that one. All the way back down, around and over. What the? Okay, at some point, the game has lost its mind. Let's go back and delete a couple points. Okay, so we're fine there. Really quick, to delete a point as you are laying out a route, just right click and it'll go back to the last point. Okay. Somehow I must have pressed the wrong button somewhere and put it to a previously existing point. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then tram line done. All right, full loop completed. I'm only gonna make the one route. I'm just not. I'm not gonna try to do a mini route between points. It would be a headache. So I'm gonna save. And then the next thing that I want to go ahead and do while we have the game paused, just to freak out the whole system, is we are going to install a bus stop up here. And all right, that one's too big. That one's too big. Oh, really? Shoot, those are really too big, aren't they? Without deleting all that. Shoot. Well, it'll fit in back behind here. It's not exactly where I'd like it, but it will allow people to get up on Cooper Street on the back, and then they can walk up a couple of blocks up there. I would really had hoped to put it right there. Actually, I'd really hoped to put it right here, but shoot. You know what? Right there actually does make a lot more sense. So we're going to come back and we're going to delete a few things. Well, I'm not a huge fan. Just games being persnickety. All right, do that, and then we've got a road that is a one-way pedestrian. bring that there, but we will get rid of the stoplight. Oh, did not like that? Did not like that. What's the directional? Yeah. Okay. Alright, that fixes that. Okay, so now we have a bus station right here, local bus station. Let's go ahead and upgrade it, give it some extra platforms, and a service station that's also not going to fit. Are you kidding me? Where can I do the least damage by placing it? What does it do? An office. Who the heck knows? What level is this building? 3 of 5. 2 of 5. 2 of 5. 3 of 5. 1 of 5 on that one. F it. Office building's an office building, am I right? I'm right. Okay, so the same with like a train station, we do have to install bus lines. Now, the very first line that I'm going to do is going to be something that's going to sound a little sketchy. And I hate this when my hometown does it. Um, I'm going to do it anyways. So, there is always one solution to the homeless problem, and that is to encourage them not to be here. And again, I hate that. It makes I just hate that. Instead of helping them, you just say you want to get rid of them. So we can set this line, then we can examine this line, then we can put the ticket price to free. So what happens is you end up in a situation where if someone is homeless in your city and they can't afford to leave, now they can come to the bus station, take a free ticket, and get out of town. Isn't that freaking terrible? I think that's horrible. Like, I understand the reasoning behind it. Like, and I understand people like, oh, but that's helping. Yeah, but it's also a horrible thing to do. Like, they want to stay here. They're in your city for a reason. Why would you just punt? Um, Sometimes people need to go back home, and sometimes that's the easiest way to do it. So we're going to do that as our first line. Now, on the other hand, this will encourage people to come into our town by bus and move in this way instead of by taxi. But it'll also encourage some tourism. So there are a couple of pluses, I guess, to that. But again, I hate it. All right. Now that we've done the absolutely terrible thing, we can put in some bus stops throughout the area. But unlike with the train, well, like with the train, we actually have to build small buildings for that. So I would like to put a stop by the college. Oh, what? There's no way that made me destroy 2 buildings. What is wrong with this game? Fine. So we'll put a bus stop by the college. So this one, we're just going to focus on Elizabeth Meadows. We will put a bus stop over here. Don't make me delete something. Okay, thank you. We'll make sure we have a bus stop back here. And we'll get one right over here in the heart of our manufacturing district. I don't need to put one by the cargo plant. cargo rail thing. And it would, of course, if we're putting them down on this area, it would make sense if we put an extra one, up here somewhere. So, and when you put in bus stations, they go on the sidewalk effectively, as you would assume they would in real life. Okay. Then we'll start another route. And I have to admit, I wasn't paying super attention to where I put these. It's like this will do. Add a new waypoint there. Waypoint there. Waypoint there. I should put a bus stop over there. We'll do that in just a second. Then if they're down there, they should be able to... I guess we can make it look like that. That's not perfect by any stretch. So once you have a line down, an easy way... In this game, this is one of the things that they got absolutely right. All right, pick a spot on this line where you think another bus stop should go. I'm gonna say... Like there's several good places for one here. All right, then go back to your line tool and then just drag it in to the new location and done. All right, so that gives us some bus route up here, nothing too major. We're going to do the same thing over here, but this time we're going to just put in a small bus station. Let's see, what do we got? Citizen Service Center, we've got Switch On, we've got a neighborhood, a train station, and university. I would like to put a... I would like to put the small bus station over here somewhere in a place that's not too absurd or super congested to serve as our waypoint and anchor. Not necessarily a hub so much, just a waypoint and anchor. So we'll make it a small hub because they can come in by train, I guess, and walk down the street. And then right over here, okay, now they can come from the bus station, walk down, hit the tram depot. Perfect. All taken care of. Or not the tram depot, they can hit that tram stop. So if for whatever reason they pick up a bus somewhere, then they've got a quick jaunt either to the train station or to the bus station or to the tram pickup point. Boy, eventually I will understand how to use vocabulary words. Okay. So we've got this installed over here. The next route we're going to do is very simple. Start a new route there. And we'll go ahead and shoot it back to a random spot over there. 1. And done. All right, and because I do want to encourage people coming in from out of town from here as well, we'll click on this, click make a new one, and then we will... Oh, can't find a route out. We will not put it over there. All right, never mind, because we don't have a highway connection right there. We've got an exterior connection, we just haven't bought the tile to loop it into the system. I may want to do that next, actually, since we're so close to it. Okay, so let's add some bus stops over here. We will start by dropping it over here at the college. And hey, you know what? While I did want that to be straight over, there. Now, if somebody wants to come to the university, they just, from Elizabeth Meadows, now they can take one line to do it. Okay. So we'll slip a stop there. I will go ahead, slip a stop there. come in. If I recall correctly, there's a school right there. There is. Slip a stop right there. That's a crematorium and stuff. Energy recycling doesn't really need a bus stop. Then I guess another decent spot, for now anyways, would be right down in here, close to tram and switch on. We'll add a small path right through here to make it easier for people to access that. And we'll adjust that bus line. And then what I'll have it do is come up and not a big fan of having buses stop on a main. But I think we can get away with this since that's an 8-lane. Okay, so let's adjust this line before I forget about it. Done. Then let's start with our line tool again. We'll use the small bus station as our target. Okay, so it comes out, it stops, it comes up, it goes over, it circles back around, stops, hits, completes. Real world, you'd also have a bus line going the other direction around. It's entirely viable. I probably should, really. I probably really should. It would be safer and smarter. It might encourage more line use, but I'm not unhappy with the traffic here. We're spread out a good way bit. And I'm going to drink some caffeine because that's a thing I do. You may have noticed that. So now we have 2 bus lines. We now have a tram line. We've got some investments in mass transit made. It's one of those things where right now it's not the most important, but we'll want it for later. The last thing we have to do for mass transit, and I actually forgot about it, a bus depot. Now the good news is this is a small building. It's nothing too heavy. It's nothing too huge. We'll go ahead and stick it over here where the traffic's relatively light. And any pollution it makes is going to be offset by waste treatment and all that. It's like it's not going to matter. Excuse me. And we'll add an electric bus maintenance thing so we can have some electric buses as well. And then just to be on the safe side, because I actually have no idea how many vehicles this is going to take up, we will try, but fail. Yep, we are in the but fail. Oh, are we or not? Okay, we did not fail. To put an extra bus garage there. So that'll give us how many vehicles? 35. All right, so hopefully it'll be a while before we have to upgrade. So you notice the electric bus thing. Let's go over here to our line tool. 4 lines up there. All right, and then select vehicle model, electric bus. We'll have to do that for each individual line. A little annoying. I would hope that this would be something that would happen automatically. It doesn't. Electric buses, I forget what the highlights are for electric buses. If I recall correctly, electric buses produce less noise pollution, less general pollution, and, basically good stuff. Okay. So electric bus setup, cool. That's done. I would like to unpause this because we've spent a decent chunk of change, but I see this. I see how close it is to the outside world, and I see how close it is to us. Right now, our only 2 entrance ways to the city are over here and over here. Oh, we have a third up there. All right, plus the train line. If I go ahead and buy this square, it doesn't have to be connected to the rest. Um, oh, a square. Are you rude? And I say this because there is no way, like literally, there's no physical way that I could connect all these together in a way that would make any kind of rational sense. So let's go ahead and speed this up. All right, we'll check back our lines in a minute, but that'll hopefully make our people a little bit happier. And we are still struggling hard with our homeless population, though. It's gone up just because we've got so many people here that want to be here that just, don't have a place to live. And it's an institutional failure on my part. I don't know what else to say. I done screwed up. Um, so we should probably put in a couple more low rent housing districts just to make things easier. Why are you guys complaining about no vehicles? We built a bus depot. Yeah, shoosh. I built you a tram depot, so shoosh. Okay. Um, low rent housing area. Let's take a look at land value. Like that's a terrible thing to ask. And let's take a look at our pollution map because I don't want to drop these people on an area that's heavily polluted. Can't get away with that yet. So up here at the edge of Cooper would kind of work. Noise, it's not the greatest. I honestly can't tell if that's polluted or not, which is a terrible thing to say. Like, I have no idea if this water is safe. Uh, I, you have vehicles. Are you kidding me? One tram depot is not enough right there. Why ever not? Y'all on drugs, and I'm not sure they're the good ones. It's one line. I'm going to give that a minute and see if that corrects. I can't believe that that would require extra vehicles for one line, more than 15 trams. Just ignore that for the moment. Okay. Well, we can do low rent or we can do the other thing that I really wanted to focus on today because I knew that was going to take about half an hour and boy, I was right on the money. Okay. So let's look down here and see some. Yeah, there's a tram coming. You've got vehicles. What's wrong with you? Maybe because of the length? That's what she said. Uh, I'll go ahead and extend this 4 lane. Down from point A to point B, intersect right through there. Perfect. Okay, now I know I built these buildings as northeastern style US mid and high density. We're going to continue that a little bit. I think right through here, I'm just going to put in some additional commercial. I'm going to use the square tool, so we'll be splitting, oops, we'll be splitting up the zoning a little bit. This way, we give a little bit of extra protection against um, pollution over there. I'm going to take off the pollution map tool. All right, so let's see. Northeast medium residential row housing. Okay, northeast medium. Now we can use the fill tool. except for that right there. Okay, fixed. It doesn't like those smaller plots right there. Okay, I think we can just do. We'll come back. We'll see if that develops, and if it doesn't, we'll come back and hit it with low density commercial or something. In fact, you know what? I can already tell that it's going to be. Fill that in. Just take advantage of those small little squares for a commercial row running back through there. All right, then I'm going to use some high density residential right down here. Down next to the capacitor building. And more like commercial right through here. And I think I'm going to install a couple of high density offices. So we're going to come in with a really odd building shift right through here, I think, because I want this area to be kind of, old school apartment complexes building up a mini city, a mini district outside, but this is a technical university. It's designed to focus on new and interesting things and concepts. So we do have a pack that's going to help with that. But apparently, first, what I'm going to have to build is a second tram depot. And I'm not opposed to putting this one back here, even though it's close to the waterway, just because this is a technical university. So we'll go ahead and add it just to get that shut up. Get the garage extension. It is demanding extra trams. It's got to be because of the distance. I don't know how the game processes that, but apparently excessively. Unexpectedly odd. What can I say? All right. So, like I said, we're going to focus on northeast over here as our design philosophy. Then we're going to come over here. I'm going to save our game again. All right. There's a couple of things this area needs in a bad way, just for the fact that there's a university over here. And if I was paying out my whatever, pick an orifice, for a university education in a large town, large city, I would expect that there would be some amenities that there aren't here. Um, College kids, they like to do things. That's a shock. I know, completely terrible. And where I went to school, we didn't have things. So what I'm gonna do, we're gonna put out a couple of the new parks we got. So let's see. Not that one, not the Grand City Plaza. I want to take a look down here. Here we go. Something like the Color Plaza. Basketball court, playground, gym area, and cafe, all in a vibrant spot. Not very large. Not the large thing that I was hoping for, but a good thing to have. I think we can stick this uh, sort of off to the side. This will actually be next to the elementary school, which is not the worst place. You know, there's a convenience store and I'm not saying the name of the convenience store because I don't think I can say it with a straight face on stream, but there's a convenience store, there's a Wendy's, there's a Rite Aid, car wash, and a bunch of other stuff right next to an elementary school where I live. So having that there, not really a shock. So that would be one thing. The other thing, I mean, again, you're paying for a university education. You would want something new, and we've got some awesome new sports complexes, which are great. Let's see, mini golf, paddle courts, dining area. Nah. Uh, Two large indoor. Oh, holy! This is massive. This may require. I almost wish I didn't have that school there. Uh, this is too massive. How massive? Again, it's what you know. She said I could fit it here next to that giant park. Oh, you know what? Having something like this right next to that train station feels like a really cool idea. And it's not unique, so we can build another one later. Let's take a look at this thing. Wow, that's nice. And a skate park. Oh, man. Man, I would love for something like this in my hometown, and I know the perfect spot to put it to. Man, if only I had won the lottery. Of course, if I had, I wouldn't be playing this game with you guys, and um, I'd like to do both. All right, let's Apex climbing, no. Sports Hub Pavilion. Uh, that would actually be nice. Basketball center, though. I think a basketball center. For, no, that's not right. Sports parks. We do have okay, American football field. You know what? This is an American themed town. Let's be legit. So right across from the college, we will go ahead and stick this football field. I think that's going to be about as an American of a design choice as I can possibly make it for right now. And it's got pedestrian crossings back and forth. You may be wondering why I'm not really focusing on putting in things like um, parking. It's because I've noticed that when you put a parking structure in this game, the game traffic gets so bad near it for no apparent reason. Like, I get it. You got a parking garage. You want to park your car there. That makes sense. On the other hand, it decentivizes people using mass transit and it creates a traffic hub nightmare anywhere you put it. It just does. And I thought I would try to avoid that this time around. Wow, that all zoned in really fast. Cool. All right, not going to complain. Okay. So we've got this right beside it. I think we don't have any high density business that's anything other than UK or American that would fit. Like those are the only options. Um, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slip in some Japanese low density over here. Um, Full disclosure, never been to Japan. Love the culture though. Um, do- Not super familiar with the building architectural style. That said, these are flat topped buildings that have really pretty storefronts and they don't really stick out in a negative way. So we're going to slip those there. Then I want to check our noise pollution right here. Make sure. Okay, noisy, noisy, noisy-ish. It's not terrible. All right. Now, I said this is a technical university. Normally, when I do university, I love to do this French style or Mediterranean style homes to give it an old school dorm feeling. What I'm going to do instead are urban promenades. Um, I think you guys will see why soon. Are these? Yeah. But we only get one type of urban promenade building, apparently. I thought we had more than that. Is that the only? No way. No way. I would have sworn we had more urban promenade than that. Okay, just gonna disable the filter then, I guess. Checking. Did they nerf them? Either they nerf them or I am blind. If I am missing this, I'm sorry because I thought we had a bunch of urban promenade residential. Huh. Well, we got urban promenade signature buildings and things, so I guess that makes up for it. Okay, so we're gonna put in some mixed use urban promenade buildings over here, and what is that again right there? It's our urban high school. Okay, perfect. All right, now I do want to look into signature buildings because we haven't built very many. We're gonna start with residential. Oh, those are nice. Get those installed soon. This is not a place for a tower or a mansion, so we're looking for any of the apartment complexes. So technical college, I would say we get have a building nearby that would look like it's embracing high architecture practices. And I would want that in view of the ocean, I think, and close to the highway. So we'll slip that right up there. It's a little bit different than everything else. Gets a really nice well-being boost in the area. It can pack in 420 residents. So that's going to be a good thing right there. And I've stuck it purposefully right over here on this walking path and right next to the tram depot or tram stop. I keep saying depot when I mean stop. You guys will have to forgive me. Real fact about me, I have a brain injury. Probably not a surprise at this point. I have long-term concussion syndrome. And as a result of that, I have some issues with chronic aphasia, which means that sometimes my words get confused in my head before they reach my mouth. It's just one of those things, and it drives the people close to me kind of nuts until they get used to me. Um, Drives me nuts some days. Just being honest with you. But sometimes that's just life, and can't really do anything about it. Okay, so I'm also going to invest in a second one, Ludo Square, which will be a nice corner building right there, mixed use. And then finally, because this is coming right off the highway, right over here. Like it's a major highway junction. Um, and while I know we do have other, oh, I was gonna put a gas station there, but we've got a university, and I go to a couple different university towns for selling books and doing charity events. So I think something like a brewery in the middle of this down here would go a long way for a lot of people. So let's move it a little bit away from the other three signature buildings that are over here, now that I'm counting them, and say that a brewery on the same block as a hospital wouldn't be the tackiest thing. I don't know how safe it would be, but it wouldn't necessarily be the tackiest thing. All right. But let's take a look now at our road networks and split up traffic a little bit. We're going to do that with pedestrian walking paths. And we'll actually use pedestrian roads, except for right there, apparently. Break that grid up just a little bit. Encourage walking to the sports complex and everywhere else. Man, that came out nice. Okay, so I guess we can't use the modern buildings that I was thinking of because of reasons. Um, what also kind of looks a little modernish? Um, the Eastern European buildings definitely do not. The Eastern European buildings do look decidedly Cold War, which is great for some areas, but not right around. So I'm going to do these Japanese style medium housing buildings over here. I think they'll fit in really nice with the modern architecture. And I'm probably going to want to invest in another elementary school. I can feel it coming. Okay, and if I'm doing Japanese style, no, see, we don't get Japanese style high density buildings though. So closest I can do is Chinese style high density buildings. And this is kind of the thing that gets you punched if you say it in the wrong places. We'll go ahead and slip a few over here. Um, yeah, I'm trying to be as culturally respectful as I can. And yeah, so we'll just go ahead and drop one, two, three, four, five. Okay, now as we approach the government building, um, I would still love to continue with the high density, but we've got such a low density demand. I can either, I think I'll go ahead and continue with the high density moving down through here, but we are going to swing over here and I'm going to build out. What I'm ultimately going to do is get rid of this bluff right here. And you know what? There's no time like the present. I don't like this. I understand why it's here. I'm certain they took a height map of the Bay Area in the United States. But with that comes a lot of bays and harbors and marinas. Yes, it comes with a lot of pizza too. Um, and it just didn't translate so well into this, to my opinion. I think this map is gorgeous, and I do love this map. That one particular aspect of it just did not. My love to the map creator. I'm not trying to be Judgy McJudgerson over here. So we'll just go ahead and wipe all that. There's a lot of dirt and gravel, and I don't want to deal with it. Um, let me adjust my headset. And I think we can expand a small little low density. My goal is to go ahead, though, soonish and build a couple of low density towns up through this area. For right now, though, we'll just go ahead and expand with some low density down through here. Now that we've had a chance to run the sim for a little bit after putting in mass transit, let me see our population. Nope, homeless is actually up somehow. Now, the good news is our homeless rate's only half of 1%, but 408 homeless people is nuts. Um, I feel genuinely bad. I feel like I have failed in my duties as the mayor. So we're actually going to do a little bit of a mix of both. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to look for our low rent housing. And I'm going to fill in a good chunk. Now, believe it or not, I think low rent housing classifies as high density, which is vaguely annoying, but okay. Now, in order to get this to work for what I want to do here, we'll probably have to, yeah, we're going to have to delete that tram track. So I just went ahead and power down everything, or paused everything. I'll take a quick look and see how much time. We're actually almost out of time today. Um, like, I hate to bail when we got a good thing going, but I've got some real life commitments and I have to call my mechanic. Yeah. Real life commitments and a Jeep. I don't think I need to say anything else. Can I? Meh. Oh, that's just meh. All right. If I put that up to 2 meters, will that be enough? All right. Let's reconnect that tram because I do want the money train pouring in. And that's exactly why I set that up a little bit, was so that our tram tracks can go over top of our roads. And if anytime I have to do another side of the track kind of deal, it's just that simple. Okay, later we'll come down. I don't know. Let me go ahead and do it now. Let's go ahead and get the game unpaused. All right, that's another 6-lane route. Yeah. Oh, come on, man. We're all the way across. Why is in water such a deal breaker for you? Is it because of that slope being so hard? Let's try smoothing it a little on both sides. That helps a little bit on that side, but not on this side. Finally. If I'm going to that extent. Gotta make that bridge look a little bridgier. Okay, so that'll connect all of that. It would be nice if we could go ahead and connect this. So I'm going to finish this section right here, then I'm going to take off. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Thank you so very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed today's stream, seeing me set up some mass transit options for Imini Bay. Uh, the mass transit was important. I know it wasn't a lot, but I hope it gave you guys some building ideas, showed you how simple it is to just even put in a small mass transit network into your city. They do help, they do matter. As soon as I figure out how to get this road over that really small creek, then we'll be good to go. And I'll take a peek and see what our transit line use is. That just sort of gets rid of that entirely. What can I say? Okay, awesome. That's one lane to cross. And it just seems to be a height map issue. Oh, we had it. I thought we had it. Didn't have it. In water on two sides. It's a bridge. I'm gonna cut that brush strength down some. Okay, and while not super necessary, that does give our vehicles a way to avoid some of the traffic going through downtown Cooper Bluff. What it doesn't do, though, is do anything for this. So we'll have to delete tramline right here. Install. Let's get our road back down to 0 meters so it follows the terrain. Okay, tram upgrade. So we're only going to partially upgrade right there. And what I'm going to do is drag this down. Then we'll take our upgrade tool and delete that right there at that new node. Perfect. Uh, we'll also get rid of the pedestrian crossing right there. We'll leave that spot. So that should work. Just a slight readjustment and the game fixed that automatically, which I appreciate. Okay, so couple of things. Let's take a look. Let's pay off our loan. So that's been outstanding. It's not really costing us much, but let's just get rid of it. Then let's take a look at our new transit lines, which will be over here. So it's doing its job. With 4 bus lines, we're now transporting more citizens, not not by much, than we are by train. And our 1 tram line is transporting 5,000 citizens. It's got an 18% usage, so the line isn't full. Our bus lines, 2 of our bus lines though, 2 and 3. Let's see, which line is 3? This would be the one that goes from Elizabeth down here, I believe. Are both at 89%. We might want to consider coming back and adding more buses to that. Our out of town use is pretty good. Like our bus line usage is great. Um, yeah, 95% usage on bus line 2. Let me go ahead and assign 3 extra vehicles to that. It'll add a little bit more traffic, but every time you add, ooh, 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 what's this? What's this? Oh, we do not have enough water. That's a critical problem. And okay, well let's fix that. How? Okay, well our sewage treatment's still good, so that's a good thing. Um, we've got a couple of options. We can either just install another basic water pump to siphon water out of the ocean, which I think for our purposes is probably good enough. It produces enough, and there's enough water we don't have to worry about using stuff up. Um, so we could put it anywhere on the coast. We could even stick it right over there next to that one. We've kept our polluting industries away from the water line, so that's fine. Or we can install a advanced water pumping station. Now, this is unique. It has to be on land and it has to be near groundwater. Oh, wait, is this one that's on land? Or is this one the one that's in the ocean? Oh, this one is the one in the ocean. Okay. Uh, Dropping this will pretty much take care of the vast majority of our water needs for the rest of the game. Kind of okay with that. I really am kind of okay with that. We can stick it over here near Cooper Bluff because if you look at it, we've already got water treatment. We've got a factory that's using that would use water, water cooling, water, all that fun stuff. And we've got a nice little bay right here to service it. That's not going to really change anything. So I think, well, I had other plans for this bay. I really think this will be just fine right over here, right off this road. Let's, oh, it's being flooded. It's 2 in the water. Okay, it's unflooded. I'll come back later. And by later, I mean right now. Go ahead and smooth this out. I'll let that settle. I'll let the game process that change. And then I'll come back later and add a couple of paths around this just for look and style purposes. Okay, so that takes care of the water issue. That's more than enough water. We'll actually be able to do water trade later once we get a connection to the outside world. I'm noticing traffic jams coming in through here. And why? Because we've invested in a lot of new infrastructure, a lot of new buildings. This should clear up. It's just something that's going to suck for a little bit. Um, that happens when you start building a lot of stuff, and we have built a lot of stuff. We've invested in a lot of things. You can see these Japanese style buildings. You can see these modern architecture. This is why I wanted them because it's got all these grass roofs and tops. We've got these new high density residential complexes popping up over here. We've got these things all that came in down here. Oh, we added something else. That was really about it. We've got all these new, facilities and demand, and we've added 20,000 people since we started playing today an hour ago. We've also got all of these new low rent buildings popping it up over here. And all of that is going to just sort of slow things down. And then, of course, they come down and they hit a stoplight. Let me get rid of that stoplight. Might speed things up just a hair. And we'll get rid of one of the crosswalks. So that's not going to improve things a lot, but it's going to improve things. The traffic congestion isn't down here, which tells me that it's just basically hogging up right here. And it's not really helpful that this is only a one lane. Unfortunately, because this is two, bleeding into three, bleeding into three. Like the lane maths are right. It's just the fact that we have so many people trying to move in all at once. And instead of the game saying, hey, well, this is all congested, let's go another route, it's all piling up right there. One thing we can do, and I will go ahead and do, is I'm going to extend this 2 lane, no, 4 lane, to about right here. And then we are going to allow a a 2 lane, 1 lane highway. Just give a small exit off ramp right here. That will allow people to come into the city proper this direction if they would like to. And I'm gonna change that, drag that, take off snap, straighten that up. Okay. That just is going to give people an extra in out. I think that'll improve things a little bit. Yeah, it's going to run them right past this plant. But if for whatever reason um, this becomes a more viable pathway for people, and it will, it'll ease up some of that congestion coming in through there. Because this road is going to need to connect up here to that. That road's going to need to come up over there to that. He says as he is running late. Okay, extra exit right there to improve that flow as we develop more on that side. And that traffic's already broken up a bit. Adding that stop sign there instead of that traffic signal kind of helped. You can see some traffic is splitting off. This is good. What I can do to even further improve that right there is to add sort of a bonus slip lane. So we have 4 going into, well, really that needs to be 5 going into 3. There we go. Now then we have 5 going into 2, going into 3, 3 going into 2, going into 1. And these guys come down here. They hit this roundabout. They then get traffic congested down here. Because right here now they're hitting 2 different spots. We can add 2 more slip lanes and solve this very easily. So a slip lane in this case is going to be one that's just going to punch right there, followed up with another large roundabout right there. We get rid of the crossing spots. They're not really needed. We get rid of a stoplight right there. Actually, we'll just turn that into a small roundabout. Done. Get rid of crossing. And now, in theory, give everybody a quick and easy route. And in bigger theory, pause again, finish up our grid. One last modification. All right, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Josh. Thank you so very much for tuning in to another episode of Dead Men Streaming. I can't wait till you guys see this episode. So if you have any comments, suggestions, feedback, or other, please be sure to give me a like, a follow, subscribe, click those buttons, do what you gotta do. Give me that sweet, sweet engagement, pretty please. I'll ask nicely with a cherry on top. And I hope you had fun. You could have done anything else today. You chose to listen to me. You chose to watch me play a city building game. And I hope I've given you some ideas for ways to help you design your own cities in a way that will be satisfactory, that'll be exciting, and that'll be helpful. Like considering adding a road here and or adjusting the tram so it comes up here long enough to put in a tram stop as an option. Okay. Well, you guys be good. I will see you soon. This is actually my last time to play Skylines for a few days. Looks like when we come back, we'll have to deal with some trash problems, which really surprises me hasn't happened before now. But until then, you guys be good, and I'll see you all again soon.